Now that I have hard points everywhere to aim at, bent a small piece of scrap line to see how well that's going to work. All my brackets are ready, and I bent a small piece of scrap line to see how it's going to work at the front. And my measuring device says that'll take about 5 full units of tubing to do this job. Yeah, give or take, bends and such. Well, that's one line in. All right, let's make this other line. Measure off what looks about like 5 feet and a few inches. Throw a mark on it. Put the magic cutter on it. And then we will make it straight. All right. Depth. I think I just moved it. Nope, you're about right. All right, let's see if it flares the right way, bubbles the right way. Looks like it's doing a good bubble. Now we put it in for the flare. Twist, twist. That's about enough. Let's see how that looks. It looks like a flare. And just slide that right through there somewhere. And slidey, slidey, slitherty, slitherty. Now that we've got it most of the way to where it needs to go, just have to put this in that clamp. Missed it. And just tighten that tight enough so they don't fall out. This brake tubing is soft enough to where I can make small bends by hand without any worries of kinking it or over bending it. Because all I have to do now is line this line up with this T-fitting. All right, that looks like that did it. And I'm not too happy with this little bending tool right here because I put a kink in that. I don't know if that's my fault or this piece of junk. Put in the little clampy holdy any thingy. Can you see what I'm pointing to? Okay, yeah, good, you can. All right, I decided that I'm gonna put fittings right here so that I don't have to make this whole long line from the back all the way to the front, all the way around to the brake master cylinder and all the way over the top to the clutch cylinder over there in one piece. It's gonna be a whole lot easier to make this in 2 pieces. I think this will work out just fine. And Safety Dog says it looks good from where he's at. This next little piece of brake line headed over to the rear wheel is almost a straight line. Starts with this little T-fitting right here, drops down to this frame rail, comes up around here somewhere behind this radiator, on across, up the inside of this frame rail, and it ends right there. Simple. And once I do that, I got to do one for the other side. Yeah, it looks like I'm going to need just a little over 2 full units of tubing to do that. Well, that's going to be a lot of bends. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this magic pen right here, and I'm going to go from this fitting down along here, over here, up here, around the back edge of here, down this way, and I'm going to end up right there at that fitting. That worked unbelievably well. So unbelievably well as to be, well, totally unbelievable. All right, so let's follow the actual route that the tubing is going to take. Well, we've got to be somewhere up there to start, around this way, back over this way, something like that. 4 units of tubing. That comes out to exactly double what it would have been had I gone in a straight line. How often does that work out? Most of the lines I'm able to work starting at one end. But as you can see, there's a lot of stuff to go around for this line. So what I did was figured out exactly where this bend was going to be, and then I'll work from that bend going both ways. This one I will probably start by working this way and get these. Nope, wait a minute. That won't work because that'll get me underneath the steering column unless I take that out of my way. Because once I bend the tubing around and go under that, it's going to be hard to get it back in and out to work the rest of these bends. I think I'm going to take the steering column out of the way. Yeah, fun. And I got it just a hair long. We're going to need some adjustment on this. I hate it when I screw up like that. The problem with a straight run like this is if you do make it too long or too short, there's no bends along the way to take a little out of or put a little into. So my choices are to either move one of these 2 bends by straightening the tubing and then rebending it, or what I think I'm going to do is instead of running this straight across here, just bring this across this way, and that little kink will take up the little bit that I need. I'm less than 1/4 of an inch too long. So that's what I'm going to do. And then when I make the next tube next to it, I'll have to do the same thing to it to make them look right. And this is what it looks like after I hid my mistakes. This is the fun part of this job. You get to put the tubes in, do a little measuring, pull them back out, bend a couple of bends in it, put it back in here, mark a couple spots, do a couple more bends, and hopefully when you're all done with it, it fits. When I started making the tubing for the right front wheel, I realized that it was basically going to be a mirror image, pretty much followed along the tubing for the left front wheel. So I did most of it on the bench. Turned out it made it a whole lot easier. It was really quick to make. I feel very fortunate that I was able to complete this job. I didn't flare any tubes without a nut on it. I did, however, flare a tube that had a metric nut on it and was supposed to have a standard, but that wasn't too bad. Cut the tubing off, put the right nut on it, and then flare it. Standard, metric, and metric extended. Working on the feed lines for the clutch master cylinder and brake master cylinder. Got the reservoir set up. Adjustable level mounting bracket. This area here will have sheet metal over the top of it, and it'll clear the top of the master cylinder reservoir. I have my levels set up here so I can measure down to the top of the feed lines to make sure that they run downhill from here over to here so that the air will work its way back out of the system. Now I'm going to take these two tubes and mangle them up so that they reach this reservoir over to this adapter that I made about 3.5 years ago. And as you can see, this is all very scientific. Yeah, close enough. Well, that's where we're at right now. I haven't put any brackets on the lines to hold them in position or attach them to the chassis. But at least they're there. Hopefully when all the nuts are tightened and I fill it with brake fluid, I don't have too many leaks. We'll see how all that works out when the time comes. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching.